welcome to Practitioner Spotlight on Sound Wellness. I'm Sharon Karn of Sound Wellness, and I am beyond excited to be here today with Dee Mago, and she is just doing such brilliant things in the world. So, as we get started here, let me introduce you to Dee. She was born a troublemaker, a disruptor, a rebel, a disruptor of many concepts, and she is ready to disrupt the fitness industry. She is ready to help you all bridge the gap between health and fitness and overall wellness, knowing that the biggest issue is lack of time, energy, and procrastination, even being the biggest challenge. Your time to elevate yourself, get your power back, and elevate humanity is right now. She is a certified personal trainer, a healthy eating coach, a Reiki master, and a sound wellness practitioner. She helps her clients combining her knowledge in fitness, nutrition, and her intuition to support them with the mindset and healing. Welcome, Dee.
Thank you. That's such an amazing introduction. Thank you very much. And for me, it's such an honor to be here. And being here with you, it's incredible.
Thank you, Dee. It has been for many years now. It's been my honor and great privilege to mentor so many brilliant people with sound wellness skills and tools. And I thought, Sharon, it's time to really showcase some of these people and their abilities and what the magic that they're doing in combining the brilliance that they have in so many different areas, along with sound wellness, to support people in beautiful, holistic ways. So I'm just so excited to share some of your story and some of your skills with other people. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, as you said, I grew up in Venezuela. I was born in Canada, actually. But I grew up in Venezuela. I'm Venezuelan, right? I never say I'm Canadian because it's not where you're born. It's basically how you were raised, the culture, and the upbringing, basically. So just my passport says that I was born in Canada, not my accent, and so for me, it's if we go a little bit back in history. My background is in IT. That's what I went to college for. I decided I knew always that I was not the person that will be in university doing master degrees and doing all this crazy stuff. And I kind of made a deal with my mom. I said, sure, I'll have a title, a certificate, a diploma. I'm not going to go to university, so I'm only going to do college. It has to be short and concise, and that's it. And she's like, well, it's better than nothing, right? That mentality that we all have to have, certificate or a diploma, or go to university and be a doctor or an engineer. And so I ended up going to college. So it was like a 3-year education, and that's what I did for the longest time. I working in IT when I came to Canada, which I'm in Calgary, Alberta. I did a lot of shitty jobs, and because the immigrant life is not as wonderful as people can think. So we have to do, and I'm saying we because I came with my who's my ex-husband now, and I was pregnant at the time. So during that process of coming to Canada, I find out we were in Venezuela. He's also Venezuelan, and I find out that I was pregnant. I'm like, oh my God, we need to move to Canada like now, because logistic wise, if for any reason Deborah will be born in Venezuela, we have to start all over. The paperwork's all over for my husband and then my daughter now. Mm-hmm. So I was like, no way, we gotta go now. So then is when the challenge started because we moved to Canada right after September 11. The economy
Ah,
shut
right.
down,
Hmm.
nobody was hiring, not even Tim Hortons was hiring back then. So it was quite the adventure.
Hmm.
And then, of course, with that, the first 2 years, it was doing a lot of shitty jobs. And what it turns out is it's all about who you know, right? Not what you know, always, right? And what it turns out is one of my friends from Venezuela used to take the bus every day with this guy, and they will chat in the bus. By the time that they get to downtown, they will say their goodbyes, and then they will see each other the following day. So this guy asked him, "Do you know anybody in IT that speaks Spanish?"
Oh, well, there you go. The university universe is working for
Exactly.
me. Yeah.
And then at that point, when I wasn't working, and he called me out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey, are you looking for a job in IT?" I said, "Actually, I am." He's like, "Well, send me your resume. This is what they're looking for. Do you think you can do it?" I said, "Of course I can do it." And a week later, I had my first job in IT, of course, oil and gas. And then from there, I worked in the um, most of the biggest oil and gas companies in Calgary. And then I expanded and I worked at Telospark and then Sport Check. And then after that, my life changed.
Well, what
Where
was it? What was it that created that change for you?
well, in 2014, so let's back up a little bit. I was the one thing that I can tell you about IT is that there's a lot of people that are very very talented. They're born with that gift of
Hmm. Hmm.
being programmers where computers comes easy to them. That was not my talent. And the reason being is because I went to school just because it was a career that was going to pay the bills. And it is, I think we all can relate to that in some
Hmm.
ways, right?
Hmm.
Um, so what it turns out is it was never my passion. I didn't know what my passion was because what I can tell you is back in high school in Venezuela, by the time you're in grade 9, they will make you do a test. And this test is very comprehensive. I have never seen anything like that done here in Canada, actually. And it actually takes in consideration many aspects of you as an individual. And then once the test, once you complete all the things that it needs to be done, then you get the results, and the result is where the careers are you good at.
And this
I
didn't
based
match IT, did it?
that this is back in high school,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and then with the results that came out for me, it was archaeology, sociology, and there was I think there was another one that I cannot remember right now. Very very social humanitarians kind of careers,
Yeah.
nothing to do with IT.
Yeah.
And I knew that when I saw those results, I was excited. Oh yeah. And then of course I told my mom, and my mom is like, "You're not gonna make money with that. You're gonna starve yourself. What are you thinking? You're going to study computers." And of course that's what I did. so so I always knew that that wasn't my passion, or
Mm-hmm.
where my talents, were 100%. So what IT gave me,
Uh-huh.
it is allow me to develop a bunch of skills that allow me to develop that job, whatever I was hired for. So in 2014, a lot of things started changing, and normally IT is the one that feels the changes first.
Yes.
Because for corporations, it is not an income generating department, it's mostly an expense. That's what is considered. And I couldn't find a job in IT at that point. So after my last contract, I couldn't find a job. And what it turns out that was the turning point is somebody that I know also from Venezuela. She was about to deliver her baby, her first child. And with all that time, again, I went back to do shitty jobs because I couldn't find jobs in IT. I also work with my stepdad in construction. I have done a lot of things from delivering newspaper, ice cream making, everything. You mention it, except what I always say, except prostitution. That's not, I do that only for pleasure, not for business, right?
Well, I love how those things that you find, Dee, that start to shift the direction are something that you're already doing, like doing the training yourself, and also doing supporting your friends and family sometimes with the skills that you're developing. So was there a time when you figured out, oh, I want to, it was that friend who was going to have a baby? Was that when you decided you were
There was a
going to
trigger,
do
yes,
it as a business?
100%. It was a
Ah,
trigger,
okay.
and then I started helping others, and then it's when I started the business, right? Like my fitness business, and then that's when, because the other aspect of things, and that's where this have been giving me as well, right? One thing is the skills that we have, but other thing is learning how to run a business.
That's really
So they're
important.
two different things. You
Hmm.
can be a very, very skilled person, very good at what you do, but it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you're good at running a business,
Yeah.
and learn marketing and sales and many other things that comes with it, right? So that was the next step that show up in my life. And that's when I met my business mentor, and that was in 2015. And then that actually started opening doors in so many ways. And fast forward, um, my fitness mentor. So we need to have collect points, right? Continuing education stuff in order to keep up my personal training certification.
Hmm.
And then my fitness mentor, I took a lot of courses from her that at that point CanFit Pro will accept for continuing education. And then it's when she was actually doing a weekend to do like a Reiki level 1 and level 2. And I'm like, sure, I'm getting my points to keep my personal training certification,
And there's
right?
another turning point, right? I know what Reiki does.
You're laughing because you know where this is going, right?
I know what this does. Yep.
And then I was like, sure, why not, right? And we also met through the same business mentor, by the way. So I did my course, and then of course after that I do my Reiki master, and then I'm like, sure, I'm doing all this stuff, and I have no clue why I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. And then in that time, that's when you and I met at some point in this whole thing, which, the interesting thing is when I met you and Ed, we were in what I was Freedom 50U, or what was the name of
That's
that one?
that's right. It was Freedom 50U, and I was speaking that day, I think.
Yeah.
And you had a booth right beside ours at that event.
Yes,
Your whole
yes.
family was there.
Yeah, and you know, so I'm like, well, I saw your booklet, and I was like, I don't even know what this is, but it's fine, right? I was clueless that we were going to be here today. and um, and then just kind of things started moving in that direction, in a way that for the longest time, I I I rejected, right? Going on this path, right? And it was, so we're in 2021, it was January 2020, so that wasn't too long ago, when I realized what I was doing. So I'm basically blocking something that it keeps coming my way, right? Like I have, a lot of friends that are healers inviting me to do, like, you gotta do sacred geometry, you gotta learn this, and I'm like, oh no, like, you're good at it. And I don't know what that means. And I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm not doing this. But I have another healer friend, is like, we gotta do some work together. I'm like, sure, yes, 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 whenever. And so it got to a point that I'm like, okay, all these things coming, I keep pushing them back. And it's when January 2020, I said, you know what, I'm going to, all these things keep pulling me in that direction, and I keep cutting those pulls, right?
The
And
soul is pretty stubborn, Dee. The soul
yeah,
will not let you go.
totally. And then I was like, well, I think I just have to let it be. And that's it. I just kind of, said, I'm not going to keep pushing that away, and see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's when the next thing, it's when it was you or Ed who called me about the fundamentals, right? And the reason why I said yes is because I said that I wasn't going to push things away anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta say yes to this because I'm supposed to, you know. And that's when, now this whole thing, now we're in 2021. So I became a Sound Wellness Practitioner. So I'm a Reiki master. I'm doing all these things. I'm holding meditation circles. I'm still doing my fitness. And but it's just IT turned completely sideways. However, going back, what IT gave me a lot of skills that definitely helped me to run the business I have today, right?
Exactly, Dee. And also it grounded you in being very practical, and using these skills in a positive way. What I find so fascinating in watching your evolution over the last couple of years is how you are integrating them into a whole new level of service. It's like you said, that disruptor energy. You're bringing a whole new level of integration into the fitness world. Dee, can you talk a bit about that and this integration that's going on? Now, I know it's not maybe fully complete yet because you're still
Oh,
evolving into it. However, it is such a brilliant integration that I'm beginning to see, and huge, huge, huge value of service that you are bringing to people.
well, when we were talking at the beginning about like who I am, and is the rebel, the troublemaker, and all that kind of stuff, that's another part that I have to make peace with. And
Mhm.
when I realized that, I was like, why am I trying to fit in the fitness industry when I always has been the rebel and a troublemaker and disruptor of anything that comes my way? So, and that also was like, okay, this is who I am, right? This is who I have, and it goes with the essence or the core of who we are, right? That no matter how much we evolve or learn, there's this bits and pieces of us that they're always there, they're always present.
Mhm.
And that's part of it, which is when when I started in the fitness industry, I realized that I was not fitting in, right? And then it's when I started integrating the nutrition, but it's not the nutrition providing meal plans, because I'm like, that is not even applicable to me. Why am I going to offer something that is, I know is not practical?
Mhm.
uh, what And then there was something missing. It's all the emotions that people carry on, and that stop them from achieving their fitness goals, and all the pains and aches that they actually show up in the physical body. But what's underneath all that stuff? And that's where, all the energy work or the sound healing takes place, and how to combine all those things that allows them to make time to stop procrastination, right? and understanding why they have been doing all these things that put them where they are today, right? And maybe why they haven't been, um, you know, or actually why they have been even sabotaged their own journey to be health and well and active and, you know, all those
Hmm.
things. So that's kind of where things, everything start taking into places. And I'm very passionate about traditional Chinese medicine because I find that it's very complete when it comes to working with the different seasons, how we can adapt, how can I adapt that philosophy into fitness. And it's very simple, it's very easy to identify that, especially in Canada where we have these pretty obvious seasons. So how that can be combined in fitness, right? And it's like,
Fabulous. Hmm. Hmm.
it's summer, for example, right? What happens in summer? Everybody wants to be out. Well, that's the time that you want to go for walks, that you want to go for bike rides. That's the time that you want to go for like jogging. But interesting enough, in traditional Chinese medicine, that's a time for the heart,
Huh.
right? So, and what are all these activities are for? To improve your cardiovascular condition. So it's like, whoa, there's some magic right there. Woohoo, right? But that's it. Combining all these things, right?
Yeah, yeah. How do you bring Reiki and sound wellness into your services? Or maybe
Uh,
we could start with how you would describe your services as far as the fitness component and how all the other parts come in. You've already said such important things where it's what's underlying the procrastination, what's underlying the sabotage. I see a big place for Reiki and sound wellness there.
yeah. So there are times, for example, where my clients come and they're like, I don't feel good. And I'm like, yes, and we're not going to exercise today. Just sit on my chair and we're gonna do some work, right? So that is like one scenario that it happens. I would say quite often, right? Because not we're not always ready to work our physical body and just be strong and all that kind of stuff. Um, the other side of things, by the time that I do assessments and on people, I already get a sense of what are the things that we need to work on,
Yeah.
and I kind of understand what are the layers that need to be peeled in order to work, towards building a healthy body. And uh, and that's where, like when the Reiki, for example, I can do sessions when I find that they need to be balanced and, kind of back to center. And then when it comes to the sound, I'm finding that there are many aspects to that is very useful. Like, for example, a lot of people, I would say 90% of people suffer from joint pains
Hmm.
or back pain,
Interesting. Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um, those are those are things that are very, very common. So then using the tuning forks, for example, it is about helping with that. Like knee issues is a big deal. Two of my clients have gone through knee surgeries, and then it's helping them with their recovery using sound, for
Hmm.
example, just to help release the nitric oxide for healing and blood flow, right? So those are aspects where I can bring that in easily. But there's always special cases. There are always special situations that are like, we need to dig deeper. And even last week, I had somebody coming from some physical issues that she's having, and we did some emotional release. And then what I said was, "This is what we're gonna do now. And you know what? Forget about the story. Forget about the why. Just let's work on this and let's do it." Anyway, we worked through all that stuff. We released. She left here without pain, right?
Fabulous.
And then she said, It's like, there's something that I like about what you said. Not to worry about the story or anything like that.
Hmm.
She's like, that helped me to kind of let go the why I am in pain. What did I do wrong that actually caused this issue? She's like, it really, really shift my mind in a way that is just allowing the healing to happen with
Beautiful.
no story.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that was a big, big, big deal that made to this person. And I know there's a lot of people that can relate to that.
Yes. Oh, I know, Dee. That's a huge part of what can really assist people in letting go. So, do you work only with one-on-one clients? Do you have groups or online sessions, in-person sessions?
I do online, I do in person. I'm
Okay.
doing groups right now as well. The groups are have been in person, and I'm going to start also doing some online groups. So that's part of the things that I'm definitely doing. When it's I also have like healing circles and meditation circles. So those are the things that I'm also inviting people to be part of. Because then now, so the one thing is doing the fitness aspect, but being part of the healing circles, for example, it is just focusing on that, whatever needs to happen in that moment. But then now it's like create a little bit of separation, so then we can focus on one thing. So if we're exercising, then we're exercising, and then we're focusing on that part of the work that it needs to be done. But then when we're in a healing circle or a meditation, then there is a different focus, so we can be more attentive to what we want to work on.
Hmm.
So those are the things that I'm also like offering and creating in our community.
I love how that creates such wholeness in your community and such a wholeness, or people have the opportunity to really step into wholeness. They may come to you at first for a fitness program. However, there's a lot more that will help them in the services that you offer, because we're not just bodies. We are so, so, so much more. And when you take care of all of that, then you create wellness in a beautiful,
Yes, and
holistic way.
you know what? I'm reading this book that is called The Initiates, and this guy who's supposed to be like I don't know, a master or something, right? He's super evolved or spiritual, and he goes in the world doing different things, helping people. And what I was reading earlier today was that we like the way how he mentioned that he worked, that he helped this specific person. It was that I'm not going to show her vices, and I'm going to teach her how she can learn her virtues.
Ah,
Because
beautiful.
when you learn what your virtues are and going into that spiritual path, your vices will disappear by itself. And that is basically, and how I can translate this is with food, for example. Everybody focuses on diets. I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat this. And that it creates that, like it is the guilt, the shame,
Yeah, yeah.
like the attachment to I'm used to eat this food. But what about if we start integrating things in your life? And eventually, you won't have the need to go for the chocolate or the cookies and stuff like that, because at that point you don't have the need. And the way how this guy explained that in the book was very nice, which is basically what this is all about. It's not about focusing on our shadow side or weaknesses. It is how I can make myself stronger, and then based on that you will see that the rest just will fall by itself. It's like it's gonna be like nothing.
Yeah, I love that approach. And I also love how what you were saying with your client who allowed herself to release a lot because you didn't have to get into the story. And when you're holding on to those things that you used to do or a story that hurt you, then it can be a huge release in order to just let the energy go. Everything is energy anyway, to let the energy go, and then the story becomes irrelevant, right? Same kind of thing that you supported her with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. And that's what it's all about, understanding and the idea of changing the view of what fitness is all about is that it's not only about going and lifting weights, build muscles. It is about becoming a whole and making fitness just one part of the journey, right? It needs to happen, right? Because
Mhm.
no matter how spiritual we can be, we're still living in this body, and we still need to take care of this body, and um, and even part of the things that I have been looking into, even in order for us to hold this strong spiritual energy, we also need to be in a very strong physical body. Because so far, we all still living here, driving cars, paying the bills, doing all this, vain things. We're still doing all that stuff, and which is why we still need to make sure that we are supporting our body at all times.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I find that your services offer such a beautiful, complete wholeness, and I'd love to see them again in 5 years, T,
I
where you
know.
might be in 5 years. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So many people are really expanding the wholeness aspect of what they offer, and I'm so grateful that Sound Wellness finds their way into the way so many people create wholeness for their clients. It's very beautiful.
Yes, yes, yes. It really does. It makes a big difference, and that's what the the one thing I'm becoming very passionate about is how sound can do so much work without getting into the story. In the moment that we get into the story, we're attached to that event,
Hmm.
and we're attached to the emotions that that event created for X or Y reason. And what sound does, it helps you to detach from that and just allow the healing to happen, because the body knows,
It
right?
does.
The body knows what to do. And then when we use the right tools or the right sound to help support the healing, the body knows what to do. It's like, yeah, I'm good, I got this. And then the story becomes secondary, right?
Yeah, I so agree. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So this is beautiful. I'm really, really like passionate, and I'm looking forward to, continue on working with you guys. It's just amazing. It's life changing.
And I would like to say that those people who find UD will have their life changed. Very much so. And I also wanted to let everybody know who's listening is go to the links. The post that accompanies this video has all the links to get a hold of Dee. Yeah, so that there's all kinds of ways. She's on social media, she's on YouTube. There are so many. Watch her wonderful videos on, and you will really enjoy those. There's all kinds of beautiful tips Dee shares on her videos and her posts. So do get a hold of her, and you will just be supported so perfectly and beautifully.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, and that's part of it. I think that's where what is happening, what it has happened for many of us in the last year and a half is that allow us to step into our power and be at service.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
I'm finding that too. And a lot of people are finding us and looking for holistic ways to support
yes,
their well being.
yeah,
And I'm sure that it's the right time for people to get to know. other practitioners so that they can find a resonance, what they know, because your heart will always know. Your
Yeah.
heart will know that this person is the right person for me.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. And I like that what you said because I think we are too um, stuck in our mind, right?
Hmm.
Oh, what what this says or what that says, and we're not allowing ourselves to connect with our heart and say, "Well, is this really feels good to me? Like, is this really good for me?" Right? Instead of going in our head and oh, what about this? What about that? Like, no, just ask yourself, take some time, be quiet, and see what it feels like, and just be open. The answer might not come right away because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And but the one important thing is that we gotta be open. And I will share this uh, something that just happened to me last week. It is I got referred. Somebody referred this lady to me. We have a friend in common, and then when she came last week, basically what she did that morning, it was she's like I need to change something, right? So she's not happy with her body and all that stuff. She's like just I need to take action. I just need to figure it out what to do, and that's it. So she kind of put it out there, and so then she went to see this girl, and then the next thing she got is my business card. So she called me right away, and then she's like, when she was here, she's like, everything just show up that same day that I was asking for.
Wow, Dee, that's a huge message of how the heart works, huh?
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly, and it's about being open.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I think the challenge is, and I will give another example because I see this is quite often that I see that. I want to make a change, but then people are not open to even ask for help. People are not open even to receive the help, right?
Hmm.
Because again, they're so stuck in this story, they're so stuck in pain. Pain becomes a comfort zone.
Yeah, I know, and that is not that's not a healthy way to be or whole way to be.
But
We
sometimes
yeah, we
that's the
hang on
best
to
way
them.
that they know,
I know, yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And that's where, how can we break that? How can we say, you know what? Going back to the story of this master teaching this lady, is not about focusing on your vices. It is
Yes.
it's focusing on your virtues and growing the virtues, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, and that's kind of, I think that's the main thing. That's one of the things that I have been focusing on for the longest time when I work with people is I don't care how much sugar you eat. Why don't we do more smoothies, right? And that's it. Then
Uh-huh.
your sugar craving will go away eventually.
Yeah,
And that's kind
beautiful.
of what right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
those are things that we really, really need to start shifting
Hmm.
and be open to get the help, right? And stop being stubborn that the help needs to be exactly the way that you want it. No, it is going to be exactly the way that you need it, right?
I know about stubbornness, Dee. I can point the finger
Oh,
at
there you go.
myself. Yeah.
So, because it's always show up in the way that we need it, not the way that we want it.
Yeah, but we have to be open to be able to get the message, right? Hmm.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
totally. Yeah.
Look at you. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really going to remember you're sharing the story about the virtues rather than the vices, because for me personally too, and where I procrastinate, that helps me to shift that change. That was a big takeaway for me in our conversation today, Dee, is virtues, not vices,
Yes,
virtues.
yes,
And what am I already doing that's brilliant? Every time I look into the eyes of a human being, I see the brilliance. I can't not see it. I'm just that's the way my vision is wired. I see the brilliance in the eyes of every human being, and they may not be living that brilliance yet, or that's still a choice. It's always a choice. and it's for me that virtues and vices really helps to step more into what is my brilliance today, you know.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm so grateful.
Well, I'm so glad that I was able to teach you something today. I always learn from you.
I learn from everyone, and this one is the perfect message for me. I love that message.
Thank you. So that was good that I read that this morning.
Hmm. The everything always just kind of tucks into place to be what you need today. Yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. So this is awesome, and I really, really appreciate that we're taking the time to share um, our virtues,
Yes.
right?
And
Through,
how they can serve people, which is the other thing you said, which is so very important,
yeah,
is recognizing those virtues because you're given those virtues in order to share them.
yes, yeah, no, exactly, exactly, and that's super important.
Hmm.
Yeah, being grounded. That's another aspect of things these days is just being grounded.
I saw your video yesterday, so everybody go to Dee's Facebook page and watch her video on groundedness. I loved it.
Yeah.
So I
Yes,
could feel my feet. I went out in the backyard in my bare feet and walked all over.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I love that. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and exercise grounds you,
Yes,
right?
it does.
Because there's the movement. We are so uh, so our way of living changed recently quite drastically, right? And what I have done for so many people is that working from home and doing a lot of online work, it is keeping them sitting for too long and long hours, even longer than before. Because before it was a commuting, so at least you will walk to the bus, you will
Yeah.
walk to get to the train or anything. At least you will have that, or you will go out for lunch with your coworkers, and that is not for so many people it's not even there anymore. I'm used to work from home. I have been doing that for the longest time, and so then I know it's all the different things that I do, but I even felt the difference because there were more of my clients that went online. So
Hmm.
it is not me being more interactive physically, like face to face with people. It was more being on the computer, guiding them for the exercises and stuff like that. So the dynamic completely changes. And then we're sitting way too long now, which leads to back pain, headaches, joint pains, hips. The hips are super tight.
Hmm.
And those are things that we really, really need to be aware of. And being in that situation where things are not flowing and moving, it also we're not grounded. We're not in that place of grounding. Movement, it's as meditation. So there are two extremes. There is movement, and there is still kind of the meditation style, right?
Hmm.
It helps us to ground, to center, to be like, oh, be more present,
Yes, yes.
right?
Hmm. Yeah. So beautiful, beautiful messages today with
Thank you.
virtues rather than vices, being grounded, being present, and moving. Hmm.
Yeah, movement is key these days.
Hmm.
Keeps things flowing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So thank
Mm.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for being here with me today, Dee.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. And would you like to do 3 ohms to close our session today?
I would love to do 3 ohms. Please
Let's do
guide
it.
us.
Hold on. I'm gonna get my. I need to take this because sometimes I write. Okay, so let's do this. And this is I'm introducing you to the world right now.
Oh,
This
she's
is my
beautiful.
Tibetan bowl. Okay, let's do 3 ohms.
This beautiful Tibetan bowl sounds perfect online. She's so beautiful. Thank you for that, Dee. She's still singing.
Yeah, yeah. This one can sing for a long time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, we'll say goodbye, and I'll be back again in a couple of weeks with our next practitioner spotlight. Thank you, Dee.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.